All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about a concept that is absolutely reshaping our world: sovereign AI. And look, this isn't just some tech buzzword. We're talking about a new kind of global arms race for digital independence, and it's going to define how nations and even big companies compete for the rest of this century.
And you know what? This quote right here, it just nails it. This comes from Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, the company that's literally building the engines of the AI revolution. He's been telling world leaders this exact thing. And when the guy selling the shovels and an AI gold rush tells you to own your own mind, you probably ought to listen. This really sets the stage for how high the stakes are.
So here's the game plan for this deep dive. We'll kick things off by breaking down what sovereign AI actually means. Then we'll get into why it's suddenly this massive global imperative. After that, we'll look at the huge billion-dollar traps that are waiting for people who just dive in headfirst. Then we'll pivot to the smarter way to do things before we get our hands dirty with the RAG architecture. That's the secret sauce that makes it all work.
Okay, first things first. What in the world are we even talking about when we say sovereign AI? Well, at its very core, it's all about breaking free from being dependent on someone else's tech. This right here is the key. Sovereign AI is way more than just software. It's about having control over the entire AI stock. We're talking your own computers, your own data, your own skilled people, and, this is crucial, your own rules and values. It really is about controlling your own digital destiny instead of letting some company halfway across the world decide it for you.
So why the big rush? Why is this topic suddenly on the agenda at every major world summit and in every big corporate boardroom? What's behind this mad dash for AI independence?
Well, it really comes down to four major things. First, there's culture. I mean, think about it. If an AI is only trained on data from one country, it's going to think and talk like that country. Over-rely on that, and you risk a kind of cultural erasure. Then there's national security. You really don't want your power grid or your stock market plugged into an AI that's controlled by another nation. That's a huge vulnerability. Third, economics. If you're just exporting your raw data and importing finished AI products, all the economic value is flowing out of your country. And last but not least, data privacy. You just can't promise your citizens their data is safe if it's being processed somewhere else, under somebody else's laws.
Okay, so the need is crystal clear, right? And the obvious answer seems simple. Just build your own. But this is where things get really tricky. This is where we run into the billion-dollar sovereignty traps, these hidden risks that can totally sink a country's ambitions before they even get off the ground.
And when I say billion-dollar, I am not exaggerating. A single, top-of-the-line AI factory can easily set you back $1 billion or more. And that's just for the hardware to get started. Believe me, that is only the tip of the iceberg. To really get it, you need to know these 5 traps. First, the compute trap. The cost of just powering and cooling these things is astronomical. Second, the white elephant risk. That shiny billion-dollar machine you just bought? Yeah, it could be obsolete in 2 or 3 years. Third is this illusion of independence. You might stop using a foreign cloud, but now you're totally dependent on a foreign chipmaker. Fourth, the talent problem. Without the specialized engineers, that supercomputer is just a very, very expensive space heater. And finally, you have to think about opportunity cost. Every $1 billion spent on AI is $1 billion you're not spending on hospitals or schools or clean water. So, if building everything from the ground up is a trap, what's the solution? Well, this is where the strategy gets smart. It moves from pride to pragmatism. It's about finding clever ways to get that control without bankrupting yourself. This shows the pivot perfectly. On one hand, you've got the old, brute force approach, trying to train a new mega model from scratch. On the other hand, you've got the new, pragmatic pivot. It's so much smarter. You focus on using existing models on your own terms. That's called inference, and fine-tuning them. You get the data control you need for a tiny, tiny fraction of the cost. And here it is, the modern toolkit for sovereign AI. Let the tech giants spend the billions on training models. You just pay to run them locally. You can use incredible open source models as your starting point instead of building from zero. Or you can use smaller, specialized models that are way cheaper to run for specific jobs. You can even partner with a global tech company, but on your terms, under your laws. And the key to all of this is a data-first architecture. Okay, let's zoom in on the technical key that unlocks all of this. It's an architecture called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG for short.
This has quickly become the absolute gold standard for using a powerful global AI without ever compromising your private local data. This is the fundamental puzzle that RAG solves, right? How can you tap into the incredible brain of a massive AI model to understand your sensitive, internal data without ever actually sending that data out the door? It sounds like a paradox, but it's not. And this analogy just explains it perfectly. RAG turns AI into an open book exam. Think about it. Your private data is the textbook. The AI gets to securely peek at just one relevant page to answer one specific question. And then the book is immediately closed and taken away. It never gets to keep it, memorize it, or use it for training. Your private info stays private. So here's how it works, step by step. First, all your private documents are safely stored in your own secure database. When a user asks a question, the system finds just the most relevant little snippets of info from that local database. Then, and this is the magic part, it bundles the user's question with those snippets into a brand new one-time use prompt. Only that temporary package gets sent to the big AI, which generates an answer and then instantly forgets it ever saw it. Your data was used, but it was never learned.
So at the end of the day, it really leaves us with this big question. Is real AI sovereignty about trying to build these massive, impenetrable digital walls to keep everything out? Or is it about building smarter bridges, using clever architectures and strategies that let you access the best technology in the world, while always maintaining total control over what's yours?
Hey, if you found this deep dive valuable, please do hit that like button, share it with any other AI builders you know, and make sure you subscribe to KYC AI Labs for more of the science behind the AI headlines. Thanks so much for tuning in.